dimensions in Canada that's jaw-dropping in its continuity and depth. And it's clearly the case that Canadians haven't woken up to that yet, although perhaps they're starting to. And a huge part of that is this appalling and unconscionable media collusion. And so now we see something similar happening in Europe, particularly in the Netherlands. And we should let everyone know, and you have to listen to this. This is so important. You know, the Netherlands is the world's second biggest exporter of agricultural products. This little tiny postage stamp of a country that was scraped out of the ocean has managed to put itself together so that it can not only feed itself, but so that it's a major agricultural supplier worldwide. It's a phenomenal accomplishment. We should be so happy with the Dutch farmers that we can hardly stand ourselves. And instead, the courts in particular have mandated that the farmers be scuttled. And the government, their own government, has basically come out and said, well, because you guys pollute so much, we have to crack down on you, as well as reducing the speed limits of our cars, which is another appalling move. And we're sorry, but a lot of you are going to have to go out of business. But, you know, that's, to make an omelet, a few eggs have to be broken. And as the president of Greenpeace in the Netherlands said recently, well, we know we're not going to combat the climate change emergency without inconveniencing a few people. And now there's 40,000 truckers in the Netherlands who are up in arms. And I believe 100,000 people have protested in Spain. And this is spreading into Germany and into the fishermen in the Netherlands as well, who are also being pressured by these utopian types. And so how do you tie that into what happened in Canada and the US? And what do you think's going on?
Well, it's all part of this larger World Economic Forum attacks on us, of course. And by the way, I lived in Europe for 6 years. Ich spreche Deutsch. Ich habe in Deutschland 4 Jahre gewohnt. I lived 4 years in Germany. I lived 2 years in Poland. And I've been all over Europe, right? But mostly not recently. Mostly I've been in Asia recently and other places. And so, but yeah, it's clear that, for instance, when I was recently in Mexico, following the migrants just streaming across, in May alone, we had about 310,000 illegally crossed into the United States in 1 month. And so
how many? 310,000.
Roughly 310,000 known crossed just in May, right? And so, and I'm not sure what that number is this last month. I've tried, I don't know the number yet, but the bottom line is it's increasing at a very high rate. And this human osmotic pressure, I call it HOP, human osmotic pressure, the push and pull of migration, is greatly fueled by, one, information campaigns, which I've seen in Colombia, for instance, on CNN, encouraging people to go north. And also, obviously, another thing that causes HOP is war, famine, pandemic, and also the economic negative pressure, which would draw you into another place, right? So there's the positive pressure that pushes you out and the negative pressure that pushes you in, pulls you in. And this is really dramatically expanding. You can see this also in Europe. As you know, they're being overwhelmed with hungry mouths, actually, as we go into a global famine, which I've been warning about.
Yeah, okay, so let's talk about this global famine, man, because I see that coming in the fall in a big way. And so my sense is, well, partly because of the Ukraine conflict and the fact that we're wiping out a big chunk of the world's wheat supply and fertilizer supply, that we're going to be putting about 150 million people under intense food pressure, really starting this fall.